What's up EFD, welcome back to Scout Report. Almost a year after he was sacked by Tottenham Hotspur, Mauricio Pochettino, one of the most widely respected managers in world football, is still without a job. When he left his post in North London in November 2019, it looked like he'd have a number of clubs to choose from. Zinedine Zidane was enduring a tough start to the season at Real Madrid, while Bayern Munich had just sacked Niko Kovac after a 5-1 loss to Eintracht Frankfurt left them 4th in the Bundesliga. Manchester United, meanwhile, had won just 4 of their opening 12 Premier League fixtures, placing increased pressure on manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. However, by the end of the campaign, Zidane had secured Real's first league title in 3 years, Hansi Flick had led Bayern to a historic treble, and Solskjaer had clinched Champions League football at Old Trafford. Furthermore, Poch won't settle for any job. In May, he said he was waiting for the perfect project, and in July, David Ornstein reported that he had rejected the advances of his former colleague Paul Mitchell at Monaco, having also turned down Benfica. But surely it's only a matter of time until we see the Argentinian coach back in the dugout. Let's take a look at 3 clubs he could go to next, starting in the obvious place. Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has hit arguably his most difficult patch as manager of Man United. The side haven't recovered well from a busy summer schedule and have looked increasingly vulnerable defensively, despite recent wins against Newcastle and PSG giving fans renewed hope. Last season, they generated 1.7 expected goals, 1.5 non-penalty expected goals, and conceded just 1 expected goal per 90 minutes, with their defensive record only beaten by Man City in this regard. This term, their XG per 90 has dropped to 1.4 and their non-penalty XG is all the way down at 0.9, showing just how reliant on spot kicks the side has become. But worst of all, according to expected goals, they should be conceding over 2 a game, something which has been reflected in their results so far. Needless to say, if this kind of performance continues, Solskjaer's job will be in danger, no matter how much the players back him. And it's no surprise Pochettino's name has been linked with the club once again. By the beginning of October, bookmakers had put the chance of him being the next Red Devils manager at 36%, with Max Allegri a not-so-close second at 13%. But what would Poch bring to Old Trafford? One of the biggest things missing at United since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement has been a strong identity, and while Solskjaer has the side playing more swift, exciting football than under Mourinho and Van Gaal, he lacks the tactical ingenuity to marry this with consistent form. His side have generally performed well in big games against opponents whose more expansive style of play allows them to counter-attack effectively, but before the arrival of Bruno Fernandes struggled against deep blocks and continue to find it difficult breaking a high press. Pochettino was famed for implementing a high-energy, high-pressing style at Spurs, manufacturing a culture and identity which hadn't been seen at the club in years, and like Solskjaer favours a 4-2-3-1 formation. And while getting this current United side to perform like Tottenham in their 2016-17 pomp would require a lot of work, there are a number of individuals who would thrive under the Argentinian coach. In attack, Rashford and Martial have solidified their roles on the left and at centre-forward, and have improved significantly as a result, both enjoying their most prolific campaigns last term. They already operate in a similar way to how Son and Kane do at Spurs, with Rashford making bursting runs from deep and cutting inside to shoot, and Martial dropping to link-up play and create space in the build-up, while also becoming more effective in the box. And while United remain without a right winger, Pochettino notably operated without one in his first few years at Spurs, positioning Christian Eriksen there instead. At Old Trafford, he'd have the option of a goalscorer like Mason Greenwood, a creator like Juan Mata, or if he wants someone who can create, press and offer dynamism, could feasibly shift Bruno Fernandes into the position, allowing for Paul Pogba or Donny van de Beek to take up a more offensive role in the centre. But at Spurs, he had Kyle Walker and Kieran Trippier to provide support on the overlap, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka simply doesn't possess the same attacking capabilities right now. However, last term, he was the only United fullback to contribute any assists, registering 4 in total. For comparison, Spurs' 4 fullbacks put up 15 assists combined in 16-17 and 17-18. While the addition of Alex Telles will hopefully bolster creativity from the left, he is also heavily reliant on set pieces, with 6 of his 8 assists coming from corners in 2019-20. As well as making the fullbacks more productive, Poch would also need to mould Pogba or Fred into a Moussa Dembele-like figure, and invest in a new centre-back. But with an average age of 24.7, United's squad is the youngest in the Premier League, and this, coupled with the constant ambition for silverware that exists at Old Trafford, makes this a pretty ideal project for a man who already has over 6 years of experience in the English top flight. Before we move on to our next club, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Euro Football Daily if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell. We put out videos like this every single day, so you really don't want to miss out. Anyway, let's move on. Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain may not have experienced the same crisis on the field as United did in the early weeks of the new season, despite their loss to the Red Devils in their opening Champions League fixture. But there has been tension behind the scenes, with manager Thomas Tuchel and sporting director Leonardo engaged in a public spat over the club's transfer dealings in the final week of the window. While Tuchel has been quick to squash any rumours of a rift, there is a general sense that his job isn't as secure as it was in the summer, and even if he survives the next few months, his contract is up in June 2021. Mauricio Pochettino captained PSG in the early 2000s and in 2016 said it would be a dream to return to the club as manager. It wouldn't be the first time. His first foray into management came at Espanyol, where he had spent 10 years as a player. But while he was tasked with rescuing Los Periquitos from relegation and keeping them steady in La Liga, expectations at the Parc des Princes are of course much higher. Having narrowly missed out on an unlikely triumph in the Champions League with Spurs in 2019, Pochettino would no doubt be enthusiastic about managing a club whose business model is centred on pursuing Europe's biggest prize. And given their domestic dominance, silverware is almost a guarantee, and so he'd finally be able to silence the no trophy brigade. Not that it likely bothers him. What's more, for the first time in his career, he'd be able to work with ready-made stars. Marco Verratti is the kind of midfielder he was crying out for in his final years at Spurs, able to win the ball, recycle possession and beat the press with outstanding ease, as well as create chances. Last term, he led Ligue for passes into the final third with 9.8 per 90, which was actually down on the previous season, and ranked 4th for passes into the penalty area, behind Neymar, Di Maria and Payet. For context, Thiago Alcantara managed 9.4 passes into the final third per 90 for Bayern Munich last season, while Felipe Coutinho averaged 2.2 passes into the box. Meanwhile, we don't need to dive deep on Neymar, MBappé and Di Maria. Their combined 90 goals and assists across a curtailed Ligue 1 season and the Champions League in 1920, working out to an average involvement every 75 minutes, tells you all you need to know. But this may be where his problems lie. Poch has never had to manage a dressing room dominated by such egos before, and with Neymar and Mbappe's contracts both up in 2022, keeping them happy and persuading them to stay represents a headache he may want to avoid. Nevertheless, even if one or both were to leave, given the huge funds he'd be able to reinvest, we'd back the Argentinian to make it work. What would probably put him off more is the club's track record of selling off its best academy products for cheap. In the last 2 years alone, they have sold Edouard, Ikone, Weah, Nkunku and Diaby for a combined €53.3 million, less than what they paid to secure Icardi and Rico this summer, while Aouchiche and Kouassi were let go for free. In a league famous for breaking young talent, PSG's squad was the third oldest in 2019-20, with an average age of 27, not an ideal base from which to commence a long-term project. As at United, Poch would also be tasked with getting more out of the club's fullbacks. Last term, they managed just 6 league assists between them, with Thomas Meunier, now at Dortmund, the only one to create over 0.8 chances a match. While Colin Dagba and Mitchell Bakker, the pair Poch would likely be working with, are currently both averaging just 1 key pass per game. However, Les Parisiens have improved a lot under Tuchel's stewardship, and adapting to Pochettino's ideas would be a potentially smooth transition for a squad who have worked under one of Europe's top tacticians for over 2 years now. As for Poch, it's quite simply an opportunity he would struggle to turn down, no matter the challenges he may face in the dressing room. Borussia Dortmund. Unlike at Man United and PSG, there doesn't seem any huge danger of manager Lucien Favre losing his job at Borussia Dortmund right now, so we'll only look at them briefly. However, there are many ways in which Pochettino would be a good fit at the Westfalenstadion. Earlier this year, the former Spurs boss said he and his staff want to find people who go hand in hand with the ideas we have, and it's hard to argue against BVB in this regard. Whereas PSG sell off young players, the German club are known for turning them into stars, the kind of reputation that persuaded Erling Haaland to sign for them last season. The Norwegian striker is now averaging 4 shots per 90, up from 2.9 last season, while his expected goals and assists per 90 has risen from 0.88 to 1.18. Not too far off the output we've seen from Messi and Ronaldo over the years. And while Haaland as well as Sancho may well leave in the next year or two, the club's recruitment record suggests they will earth out sound replacements, with 15-year-old centre-forward Youssoufa Moukoko already making a case with 9 goals in 3 appearances for the under-19s this term. Furthermore, 17-year-olds Gio Reyna and Jude Bellingham are already impressing in the first team, with Reyna registering a goal involvement every 85 minutes this campaign, and Bellingham already seeing his championship numbers improve significantly in the Bundesliga. That's not to say he wouldn't have to oversee a transition in some areas. Hummels, Witsel and Royce are now all the wrong side of 30, while 35-year-old Lukas Piszczek retires next summer. But despite them all featuring prominently last season, the BVB squad was still the 4th youngest in the league at 25.5. What's more, Farah also generally used a 4-2-3-1 or 3-4-2-1, the same formations Poch favoured at Tottenham, and pressing football is ingrained in the club, even if it is less synonymous with them now as it was during the Klopp years. They may not have the stature of PSG or Man United, but Dortmund and Pochettino could be a match made in heaven. So that's our scout report on where Pochettino should go next, but have you got any shouts yourself? Let us know in the comments below and we'll do our best to reply. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like and click on screen right now for more great EFD content. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.